Incredible moment exposed. New Maid transforms CEO's autistic daughter's life with a simple dance. The world reeled beneath Claire's polished obsidian heels as she darted through her suburban office. The hum of her corporate empire echoed like the relentless ticking of a clock, counting down to deadlines and meetings where scores of investors awaited her every move. The pressure surged as she brooded over yet another quarterly report where failure was not an option. Still, the weight of expectation weighed heavier than any boardroom confrontation. Her daughter's silence loomed over her like an invisible shadow. Lily, her brilliant but withdrawn autistic daughter, remained an enigma. Each day, Claire wrestled with guilt as Lily became engulfed in the pages of her favorite books, retreating into a world where words blended into colors and sounds danced like whispers. Claire felt the distance growing, the tightening grip of her dual lives, one of a commanding CEO striving for success, the other a desperate mother yearning for connection. The fear gnawed at her, driving her deeper into the grind of corporate life. "Can I really handle all this?" she whispered to herself, shaking her head. Each question twisted like a knife, cutting deeper into her resolve. What if Lily needed more than what she could offer? Her heart raced at the thought. The thought of failure in both her worlds was paralyzing. Alone at night, she'd replay her day, weighing the needs of a thriving business against her child's yearning for just a glimpse of understanding. Was she losing her daughter to the demands of success? Then Marta walked in, warm and vibrant, carrying a spark of resilience Claire had long forgotten. The maid from another world, a realm of sacrifice, and an arduous journey that painted her life with dreams of stability. Anxiety stirred within Claire as she glimpsed what Marta was trying to cultivate with Lily, a bond that felt counterproductive to the unyielding path she'd placed before her. A distraction, Claire muttered as panic clawed at her insides. But with every dance session Marta introduced, Claire found herself wrestling with judgment. The laughter spilling over as Lily timidly followed the rhythms ignited an internal upheaval. How could she prioritize joy when the market was shifting? Then the confrontation came, a boil-over of miscommunication filled with fear, driving Claire to let Marta go. "She's just a maid. What do you know about my daughter?" Claire had shouted, her hand shaking over the phone. The air had thickened. She hung up, the silence screaming louder than accolades in the boardroom. Days stretched into weeks. Claire's professional world thrived, while her home bled into an abyss of solitude. Lily withdrew, her vibrant spark fading quietly. Claire found herself spiraling into anguish, but held on to the facade of control as she buried herself in strategies and projections. The emptiness buzzed around her, an unwanted reminder of the warmth leaving her house. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. It was only after Claire accidentally stumbled upon a local talent show that her world teetered on the edge of a precipice. There stood Lily, bathed in the spotlight, a far cry from the withdrawn girl she had known only weeks before. With each step, a fierce grace emanated from her, every pirouette a rebellion against the silence that had bound her. Claire's heart lodged in her throat, panic and wonder colliding in a visceral moment of realization. The applause roared around them, chipping away the wall she had built, and the echoes ushered in waves of guilt. Could she ever climb out from beneath the weight of her mistakes? She staggered, grappling with the complexity of reconciliation. It all swirled around her as Lily found her rhythm and Claire felt utterly lost, standing at a crossroads, desperate, unsteady, wondering if she could bridge the divide or if time had run out. The memory of Lily on that stage haunted Claire long after the applause faded. The raw emotion displayed in her daughter's performance felt like a revelation, a window into a world Claire had almost lost touch with. The confidence radiating from Lily became a mirror reflecting Claire's inadequacies, and she once again grappled with her choices. She returned to her office, the usual corporate charm muted. A frenzy of tasks filled her schedule, yet her mind rejected the mundane details of budgets and projections, fixating instead on the moment the spotlight illuminated Lily's spirit. The next day was a blur of unacknowledged feelings and missed opportunities. Meetings came and went, yet Claire's thoughts continually drifted back to her daughter's dance. Had Marta truly known what Lily needed, forming connections deeper than her professional limits had allowed? The question gnawed at her conscience. Maybe the joy of that fleeting performance could be a model for what the two of them needed, a bond that transcended words and expectations. Claire's resolve hardened. She opened her laptop and with trembling fingers typed an email to Marta. The fear of reaching out to someone she had dismissed clashed with a new understanding that success would mean nothing if it cost her the relationship with Lily. As she hovered over the send button, doubt crept back in. Would Marta take her call? Would she sully Lily's newfound happiness? But another thought emerged. The dance had unearthed a spark in Lily Claire hadn't seen in years. Pushing through her self-imposed barriers, Claire hit send. The moment felt like stepping into a cold pool, jarring yet refreshing. The anticipation of a response sent adrenaline coursing through her veins, a sharp contrast to the numbness that had settled in her home. The reply came later that evening. It was brief and warm, an echo of the vibrant energy Marta once brought. They agreed to meet at the coffee shop around the corner from Claire's office, a neutral ground, leaving room for both certainty and uncertainty. The prospect of seeing Marta stunned Claire. Part of her felt shame. Would confrontation lure her deeper into the same feelings of guilt that had plagued her since that fateful phone call? The next morning, getting ready, Claire scrutinized her reflection, searching for the only version of herself that could tackle not just boardroom negotiations, but personal reconnections as well. She applied a dash of confidence to her lipstick, a bold red, a color that mirrored the determination she had to ignite in her relationship with Lily. Arriving at the coffee shop, she spotted Marta immediately. Time hadn't dulled the radiance that exuded from her. Marta's eyes lit up in recognition, her smile genuine and disarming. Claire felt an odd mix of fear and relief. "Claire," Marta greeted her warmly, the air around them electric with unspoken words. "I'm sorry," Claire began, feeling her throat clench. "I've realized I didn't let you help me understand Lily." Marta nodded, her gaze steady. "You were scared. It's okay." The gravity of that acceptance washed over Claire. Perhaps the walls she had built around herself and her daughter weren't as impregnable as she feared. A conversation slowly unfolded, layering Claire's corporate battles with the vulnerability of motherhood. As they exchanged thoughts, Claire glimpsed the missing pieces of her relationship with Lily, the simple acts of joy that formed the basis of life, the dashes of laughter, the gentle nudges towards discovery. What began as a meeting filled with trepidation evolved into an empowering dialogue, illuminating pathways Claire never thought she'd explore. They discussed dance and art as vehicles for communication, weaving threads of creative expression, like those visible in the talent show, into a framework for fostering understanding between mother and daughter. But as the conversation deepened, an uneasy thought surfaced. What if Lily, emboldened by Marta's influence, no longer needed her? The fear of losing her daughter to this new world quaked beneath her pragmatic facade. Unwilling to become a mere observer of her child's triumphs, Claire resolved to become an active participant instead. The meeting ended, but Claire left with a potent blend of hope and uncertainty coiling in her stomach, ready to reshape her priorities. She had opened a door, but now she needed the courage to walk through it. At home, the silence hung heavier than before, a palpable tension mocking her new convictions. She took a deep breath, the journey ahead daunting. It was clear the performance was just the beginning, and she was ready to embrace the echoes of their estranged existence. Clenching her fists, Claire resolved to involve herself in Lily's world. The time had come to face not just the shadows of her choices, but also the bright, demanding light of transformation. Tomorrow, she would learn to dance. The next morning, Claire woke up with a tumult of thoughts swirling in her mind. The dawn light poured through her window, illuminating the remnants of her half-awakened dreams. But there was no escaping the reality that awaited her. Today would not be about boardrooms or bottom lines. Today was about Lily. After a quick breakfast, Claire found herself standing in front of the mirror again. She questioned her resolve. How did one simply learn to dance? Would she feel foolish in a room filled with grace and skill that she did not possess? Despite the squeamishness settling in her chest, she couldn't let fear take the lead today. She was prepared to walk into Lily's world, the world of dance. Arriving at the dance studio, the warm buzz of laughter and chatter enveloped her. The atmosphere gleamed with a confidence that Claire yearned to capture. She felt another pang of self-doubt creep into her mind. Was she really supposed to belong here? The memory of Lily in the spotlight surged back, embers of her daughter's vibrancy igniting a flicker of courage within Claire. The instructor arrived, an energetic woman with an inviting smile. "Welcome. Don't worry, we're all here to learn." With those words, Claire's shoulders relaxed a fraction. As the lesson began, Claire stumbled through basic steps, her limbs feeling foreign as they tried to respond to rhythm. Each misstep echoed her insecurities. Yet, as she watched the others move fluidly, laughter punctuated the class. It became evident that everyone was, in some way, lost in their own dance journeys. Each fall and awkward movement reminded her that proficiency would come, but it required the same perseverance she demanded of herself at work. After the class, Claire felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with exhaustion. She was alive and engaged, but there was a deeper intention looming over her actions. She wanted Lily to see her not just as a distant architect of rules, but as a participant in the beauty of self-discovery. The words of Marta echoed in her mind. It was time to dismantle the fortress she'd been living in. With a newfound determination, she approached the instructor after the class. "Could you recommend resources that speak about integrating dance into the lives of children with special needs?" The instructor raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "Absolutely. Dance can be incredibly therapeutic and liberating. There are programs specifically designed for children with autism." As the instructor shared her insights, Claire's heart raced. Ideas started to swirl, possibilities igniting a latent creativity buried beneath layers of corporate structure and rigidity. She found herself envisioning scenarios where they could explore dance as a means of communication between her and Lily, where misinterpretations could dissolve in the rhythm of movement. Returning home, Claire's focused energy filled the air. She found Lily in the living room, flipping through dance videos on her iPad. An idea sparked at the sight of her daughter's enchantment, a way to connect this newfound dance experience with Lily. "Hey, do you want to join me tomorrow? We could try some of those moves together," Claire offered, excitement trembling in her voice. Lily looked up, surprise etching her features. "You want to dance with me?" "Yes, I've been taking lessons. I'd love to include you. We could make our own dance." A flicker of uncertainty crossed Lily's face, lingering like shadow, but it soon gave way to a delighted grin. "Okay, can we make it cool?" Claire chuckled, the lightness of that moment buoying her aspirations. Together they began crafting a routine, the dance floor taking shape right there in their living room. Moments passed in exploration, joy and shared laughter, an unspoken reaching out that had been absent for far too long. As the sun set, a growing sense of affirmation solidified within Claire. She had moved beyond mere intentions. She was actively creating the bridge needed to reconnect with her daughter. The room was filled with a new rhythm, one far removed from their usual routines, and yet intimately familiar. But just as Claire felt buoyed by their progress, an ominous thought entered her mind. Would Lily enjoy the new bond more than the traditional expectations of their mother-daughter relationship? What if the creative autonomy encouraged by Danc made Lily less reliant on her? Would she become a supporting figure rather than a central part of her daughter's life? Tonight's bond was real, but shadows loomed ahead, muddying the clarity of Claire's commitment. With each passing moment, the journey ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Claire recognized that they were entering not just the world of Danc, but the complexities of shifting roles within their relationship. In embracing this unexpected twist, would she find freedom or lose even more of the connection she cherished so dearly? The dance had begun. What lay ahead was still unwritten. Claire woke up the next morning to the sound of laughter filtering through the thin walls of their home, the air charged with a mixture of excitement and tension. It was a Saturday, and Lily was already buzzing with energy, flipping through dance videos, her fingers moving over the screen with a practiced ease. Claire washed her face and pulled her hair into a loose bun, feeling a twinge of both anticipation and anxiety. This day could bring them closer together or shatter the fragile connection they'd begun to forge. The prospect of dancing with Lily was daunting. Claire had returned from the studio, inspired yet unsure of how to blend her ambition with her daughter's needs. Dance had ignited something in her, a glimmer of hope that they both could shift their relationship into an open dialogue of movement and expression. But would Lily understand the depth she hoped to cultivate through their shared experience? "Hey, ready to start our dance adventure?" Claire called out, forcing the tremor of uncertainty from her voice as she entered the living room. Lily's face lit up, and Claire could see that this was more than just a shared activity. It was a chance for her daughter to express herself in ways that words often failed. "I've been watching this cool routine. It's all about girls being strong and having fun," Lily exclaimed, leaping off the couch. Claire's heart swelled with pride. A few months ago, Lily would have been hesitant, holding back from such exuberance. Claire quickly adjusted her intensity, mindful of her daughter's nuances. While she was eager to dive into their lesson, she wanted to be available emotionally and physically. They set up camp in the living room, pushing the coffee table to one side to create a makeshift dance floor. Claire turned on some lively music and watched as Lily began to sway, her movements unrefined yet instinctual and honest. "Let's start with some basic steps," Claire suggested, demonstrating a simple combination she had learned the day before. With every awkward step, Claire battled the gnawing fear that accompanied her growth. Yet something remarkable began to happen. As Lily mimicked her, without a trace of hesitation or fear of judgment, Claire caught a glimpse of something profound, an unfiltered joy that radiated from within her daughter. Claire had envisioned their dance experience as nurturing for both of them. Instead, it became a mirror reflecting their emotions. In watching Lily lose herself to the rhythm, Claire felt her own insecurities begin to melt away. The music trailed off, replaced by laughter as they stumbled through routine after routine. Between the fumbles, they shared stories that hadn't been spoken in years. They teased, they corrected, and ultimately they celebrated each other's triumphs, building a bridge in their communication that Claire had thought collapsed beyond repair. But even within the joy, thoughts began to swirl in Claire's mind. Each laugh and misstep bound them closer, while simultaneously sending ripples of apprehension through her. Could Lily navigate this newfound confidence independently, or would Claire's presence anchor her down just as much as it lifted her? The dance became a stark reminder of the fear of losing control. What if, after everything, all these moves led to Claire losing her central role in her daughter's life? Claire's heart raced at the thought, her breath hitching in her throat. Would she find pleasure in allowing Lily to explore her independence, or would she grapple with jealousy and insecurity, fearing that this dance was the first step toward a growing distance? Determined not to let these thoughts spoil the moment, she reached for Lily's hand, interlacing their fingers. Now let's create our final dance together. It should represent us, our unique moves, our fathomless spirit, and the love that keeps us strong. As they crafted their routine, Claire felt the weight of uncertainty clashing with new aspirations. The rhythm between them deepened, expanding their emotional vocabulary like never before. Yet the thought persisted at the back of her mind, a tingle of unease. Fear that maybe the dance was leading them to inevitable changes, roles irrevocably shifted. Echoes of laughter continued to fill the living room, but Claire's heart was heavy with an impending revelation. Would this new dance, their creation flourishing with every beat, evolve into something more than mere movement, something life-affirming? As the music slowed, she recognized that clarity may demand sacrifices they hadn't yet anticipated. And the next question hung in the air, a single keystone. Would the beauty of their dance lead to a separation of identities or to a richer, deeper connection that inspired both of them to soar? Suddenly, Claire's phone buzzed, breaking her concentration, a message that could change everything, an invitation for a performance opportunity, one that might entrench her career deeper into a world she believed she was leaving behind. The stakes had just risen, and with it a new dilemma arose. How could she pursue her ambitions without abandoning the very connection she was working to strengthen? Claire stood frozen for a moment, the phone still buzzing in her hand. A performance opportunity? The words felt electrifying and suffocating at once. Reality hung around her like a thick fog, distorting her focus. Her instincts screamed to prioritize family, to nurture the bond deepening in that very room. Yet the promise of rejuvenation and recognition piqued her ambition. "Mom, everything okay?" Lily's voice cut through the haze, her wide eyes searching Claire's for assurance. The innocence in her question stung. She didn't understand the ramifications of a choice yet unmade. "Yeah, just thinking," Claire replied, forcing the corners of her mouth into a smile, but the strain was evident. The moment felt charged, as if the air crackled with their unspoken fears and desires. "Let's keep dancing!" Lily's enthusiastic rallying shout shattered the tension, drawing Claire's attention back to her daughter. In that instant, Claire realized something profound. A moment of joy was before her, a connection she had long craved. Still, the irony gnawed at her. The more she danced with Lily, the more her own dreams wafted tantalizingly close, yet fragile. Every spin and leap felt intertwined with her career's future, but to pursue that path could mean sacrificing the very intimacy they had just begun to cultivate. "Okay," Claire exhaled, as if releasing a heavy weight. "Let's take this new dance we've crafted and practice it. But remember, the most important part is being truthful in our movement. It reflects how we feel." With renewed determination, she steadied her breath and immersed herself in the rhythm, attempting to keep her mind from spiraling into uncertainty. As they twirled, Lily's joy was contagious, enveloping Claire in warmth, a stark contrast to the freezing grip of professional longing. They practiced diligently, each step, each move meticulously woven together in unity. The living room felt like their sanctuary, a mosaic of smiles and missteps, but Claire's mind split between the exhilarating present and encroaching future demands. With every beat of the music, she wrestled with the realization. Lily's newfound independence became palpable, especially as they danced in synchrony. Moments passed, but with every new combination, Claire felt an inexplicable resistance building within her. Could she relish these shared moments if she wasn't ready to fully let go of her aspirations? The fear of inadequacy surfaced, gnawing at her heart, suggesting her connection with Lily might be reliant solely on her own sacrifices. Would she risk succumbing to insecurity whenever Lily ventured into self-confidence without her? Okay, let's try the combination one last time, Claire called out, masking the whirlwind inside her. As they spun into their routine, she fought to balance her increasing anxiety with the joy of creation, the dance underscoring an internal struggle she couldn't yet articulate. Through the laughter and rhythm, something in Claire shifted. She couldn't deny the emerging dichotomy. Each pirouette ignited hope for her career and a latent fear of losing her daughter to the independence blossoming within her. What began as choreography became a prism for realizing how interconnected their futures truly were. Suddenly, in a moment of misplaced enthusiasm, Lily slipped and fell. A sharp gasp escaped Claire's lips as she rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" Lily's face crumpled for a moment, but then she chuckled. "Just a little tumble. I'll get back up." Claire sighed, relief and admiration intertwining, realizing this was exactly the resilience they both needed to nurture. "That's right. We can always get back up, can't we? Let's try again." With a renewed spirit, they resumed, though a subtle yet profound change unfolded. This time, Claire embraced her daughter's independence openly, relinquishing some of her self-imposed control. As the dance came to a close, a thought flashed across Claire's mind, rippling through the fading melodies in the background. What if both paths, the pursuit of ambition and nurturing their bond, could coexist gracefully? The new message in her pocket pulsed with unanswered questions, echoing the mounting tension within her. Could she step onto the performance stage in a way that bolstered their relationship rather than fracturing it? With each beat, possibility collided with apprehension, resonating deeper than the music. Claire knew she had to make a decision before the next dance began. Would she allow herself to face the performance that could redefine her career, risking the strands of connection they had just woven together? But as they grasped hands again to finalize their creation, an inner voice whispered that perhaps it was time to confront not only her ambitions, but also the fear that had kept her dance stuck in a single position for far too long. Would she embrace the complexity of this unfolding story? The moment for a decision loomed, and Claire felt a stirring deep within. The next phase of their dance was approaching, but would she have the courage to step into its embrace, not only as a mother, but also as a performer seeking her rightful place in the world? Claire's breath was steady as she danced with Lily, yet beneath her, calm facade, uncertainty coiled tightly. The familiar rhythm of the music melded seamlessly with the sounds of her daughter's laughter, but an internal cacophony pressed against her consciousness, the lure of the performance, the ringing of the phone, the yearning for connection. "Mom, look," Lily exclaimed, her little feet taking flight with newfound energy. Claire forced a smile, her chest swelling with pride and a subtle ache of realization. Her own dance was tethered to a choice not yet made. Each movement Lily executed was a glimmer of independence, each spin a signal that her daughter would soon glide into the world alone, a world where Claire's influence might fade. In between practices, Claire could feel the emotional stakes mounting, and the tug-of-war within her raged, a need for self-fulfillment against the fear of watching Lily grow far beyond her reach. She had spent years nurturing Lily's potential, but now it seemed that nurturing would create a chasm between them. "Let's take a break," Claire suggested, leading them to the sofa. She watched as Lily flopped down, her chest rising and falling with excitement. This innocent pulse of joy was intoxicating, yet it also fed the gnawing chaos within Claire. "Mom, do you think we could show the dance to Grandma?" Lily asked, her eyes twinkling with fervent enthusiasm. The simplicity of the request thrust Claire deeper into reflection. Could she embrace moments like this and simultaneously pursue the recognition she craved? Claire inhaled deeply, inhaling both the lush aroma of home and the bitterness of aspiration. "Of course, love, Grandma would be thrilled, but I have something to ask you too. Do you think it'd be fun if I performed again, just like old times?" Lily's eyes lit up, brimming with encouragement. "You should. You sparkled on stage, Mom." That one word sparkled, unraveled something profound in Claire, a tingling flicker of hope against the encroaching shadows of doubt. Yet as she processed her daughter's excitement, a horizon of questions beckoned. What if Lily's glow was only a reflection of expectation rather than genuine support? Would she feel abandoned if Claire chased her own dreams? And the performance, the spotlight, would they distract her from being the mother she aspired to be? Claire turned her gaze toward the window, where dusk had taken hold. The light faded, echoing her reluctance to step toward a choice cloaked in uncertainty. "I want you to promise me something, Lil," Claire said slowly. "No matter what happens, will you still be my dance partner, both on stage and off?" "Always," Lily affirmed, giving Claire a conspiratorial wink, which ignited a flicker of determination in her heart. Encouraged by her daughter's unwavering connection, Claire began to question the assumptions she had about balance. Why couldn't she move toward both dreams, hers and Lily's, an elegant dance of aspiration and love? Claire pondered the last time she had fully committed to herself, as a performer, as an individual. The fear of inadequacy loomed, yet it paled in comparison to the desire to grow. With every giggle and playful nudge, Claire felt a soft awakening within her. Maybe it was time to embrace not just the dancer she once was, but the mother she could be, who also thrived. The conditions of her life, the love she shared with Lily, were necessary support, not boundaries that constrained her. But just as clarity began to settle in, her phone buzzed again, this time with an answer to the unanswered call that lingered. A message awaited, confirmation for the performance, opening into a floodgate of emotions, anticipation, excitement, and a touch of fear at the potential fallout. She glanced at Lily, whose bright eyes seemed to dance in the fading light. How could she share a moment like this, stepping toward the stage while still keeping her daughter close? As she reached for the phone, Claire realized that while one door might open, another could also lead to nurturing the relationship they were building. But the moment of commitment was at hand. Would she accept the challenge of redefining her identity, blending the roles of mother and performer seamlessly? As she hovered over the screen, Claire took a deep breath, her heart thundering a rhythm all its own. The next dance awaited, but this time it felt different, an intricate blending of paths. Would she dare to step forward into the unknown, knowing that each movement could change the trajectory of their lives forever? Claire's finger hovered over the screen, contemplating her decision, while Lily pounced off the sofa, re-energized. A mix of exhilaration and fear coursed through her veins. This wasn't just a performance, it was a pivotal moment. Would it affirm her identity as a dancer or shatter her image as a dedicated mother? The phone buzzed again, cutting through her hesitation, and in a flurry of instinct, she pressed reply. The moment the screen illuminated with her agreement to perform, a rush of adrenaline surged through her. She had taken the leap, but the landing was a murky unknown. As she set the phone down, Claire felt a shift within herself. The dance studio, once a refuge, now loomed in her mind as a battleground for her conflicting desires. She had to rehearse after all these years, not as the young girl who once dreamed of the spotlight, but as a woman with a daughter at her side. "Who's ready to practice some more?" Claire called out, her voice a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Me!" Lily cheered, clapping her hands. The infectious joy of her daughter spurred Claire on, and they dove back into their routine. Each pirouette and leap slowly infused her with newfound energy. As Claire twirled, her heart soared alongside her movements. For the first time in ages, the rhythm of the music felt like a lifeline, one that could draw her closer to who she used to be. Yet beneath the surface of exhilaration lay an unanswered question. How would this new direction affect her relationship with Lily? Each time their eyes met, during practice, Claire felt the weight of that question between them, like an invisible thread connecting their fates. "Mom, when you dance, you look so happy," Lily exclaimed after an especially spirited routine. Claire paused, caught off guard by the sincerity of her daughter's words. "But what if I can't do it?" Claire blurted, a rawness spilling from her normally guarded self. The fear of failure, of not being able to balance her dual roles, draped over her like a heavy cloak. Lily's expression shifted instantly from joy to concern. "You'll be the best, just like you were before, right?" The strength in those words shook Claire. Could she really reclaim the dancer within without erasing the mother she chose to be? Perhaps she had underestimated the resilience of their bond. Leaning towards her, Claire said, "You're right. I've just got to believe I can do both." Fueled by Lily's faith and her own rekindled passion, Claire shaped a plan for the weeks leading to the performance. She began to visualize her routines. The choreography became a canvas for her emerging self, layering her aspirations with motherhood. Each rehearsal turned into a dance, not only of movement, but of emotional negotiation. But self-doubt lingered like a ghost at the edge of her consciousness. She would catch glimpses of herself in the mirror, now reflection, now denial, as the specter of a haunted past threatened her sense of belonging both on stage and off. Having felt the hesitations rise, she gradually turned her attention back to Lily, whose unwavering enthusiasm became her anchor. Claire found herself centering their nightly dance sessions around not just perfecting the steps, but nurturing a shared joy that pivoted around self-expression and creativity. It became their ritual, a promise to continue growing together rather than apart. But then came the unexpected twist. An invitation appeared just before their final rehearsal, a chance for Claire to lead a class of aspiring dancers. The prospect lit both excitement and apprehension within her. It meant sharing her journey, opening up her personal struggles, and bringing others along in a world that had once been only hers. Claire grappled with the implications of this opportunity. Would embracing this role further tether her to her own past, or would it create new pathways for connection, a bond with her daughter steeped in shared passion, teaching both of them that growth didn't come at the cost of separation? The weight of the decision pressed down, and Claire found herself contemplating, how could she weave this new challenge into the tapestry of her life? Should she continue to mask the vulnerability that lingered, or was it time to expose her fears and transform them into a lesson for both her and Lily? As she looked at the illuminated stage, anticipation flooded Claire's veins with life, but anxiety remained a troublesome shadow. The moment of truth loomed, and as she prepared to throw herself into this new venture, Claire realized that every twist and turn would shape not just her career as a dancer, but also the legacy she would leave for her daughter. Would this tentative step into leadership fortify their connection or unravel it before her eyes? The next performance awaited, but this time the stakes were more than just her own. The echoes of the studio were a blend of haunting notes and vibrant energy, the memories of past performances swirling through Claire's mind like loose confetti caught in the air. She stood alone for a moment at the edge of the wooden floor, absorbing the atmosphere, one that thrummed with possibility and past desires. The invitation weighed heavily in her pocket. Lead a class, share her journey. How much of herself was she willing to expose? As she launched into her practice, the dance became both a release and a torment. Each spin required focus, yet her mind buzzed with the realities waiting off stage. Could she truly step into the role of a mentor while navigating her own fears? The discomfort of leading others mirrored her anxieties over motherhood, where she often questioned her abilities. The balance felt precarious. It was a question as old as time. How much of oneself can one give without losing what's most vital? Lily's laughter broke through the haze as she twirled nearby, imitating her mother. Watching her daughter, Claire felt a rush of warmth. Her precious child, who viewed the world through untainted eyes. "Mom," Lily exclaimed, breaking Claire's concentration, "you're so good. Can I be like you when I grow up?" It was a simple question, yet it sent shockwaves of clarity through Claire. Wasn't this her chance to show Lily the beauty of pursuing passion? to teach her the importance of integrity, how vulnerability could spark extraordinary change. The thought reshaped Claire's fears. If she could guide others while nurturing her bond with Lily, perhaps she wouldn't just reclaim her old identity, but craft an even richer version of herself. The prospect ignited something unfamiliar, a flame of determination. Maybe stepping into this leadership role would help her bridge the gaps between the woman on stage and the mother at home. But as rehearsals intensified, Claire often caught herself collapsing under the pressure. The very reflection in the studio mirror began to feel like a taunting reminder of the sacrifices she faced. At times, she would freeze mid-practice, sweat on her brow and heart pounding, overwhelmed by what lay ahead. Doubts clawed back in, tying her stomach in knots. What if her insecurities became obvious to others? What if she failed to deliver the kind of mentorship they needed? What if she disappointed Lily? Despite these fears, Claire felt a spark of resolve. If she were to lead, she would have to embrace the very doubts that threatened her. She began to incorporate discussions of her struggles into the lessons, choosing to see vulnerability not as a weakness, but a valuable teaching tool. Opening up became part of the choreography, an elegant tango between her dancer self and the nurturing mother. Each class she taught was not just about physicality. It was an excavation of personal truths, a dialogue of hope and resilience. However, sharing herself so deeply took its toll. Claire began to confront a disconcerting realization. Her emotional tether to her past was tighter than anticipated. Each lesson lingered like a dark shadow, probing her anxieties. Standing in front of eager faces, she could feel the weight of responsibility, but she held her ground. It was as if sharing her vulnerabilities made the weight lighter. Each confession became a thread connecting her to a burgeoning community, forging bonds with students who shared their own insecurities. Soon enough, the night of the performance crept closer, an impending storm filled with promise and the unknown. With every passing minute, Claire felt torn between inspiration and fear. As rehearsals swelled, so did the stakes. Would she rise to the occasion? Every fiber of her being questioned whether she could sustain the dual roles of dance and motherhood. The stage beckoned, fascinating yet frightening. It felt both liberating and suffocating, emotions swirling inside her like the dancers she now taught. As practice concluded one evening, Claire stood breathless yet exhilarated, gazing into the mirror. A flicker of something began to succeed the fear. Clarity, perhaps the whisper of potential. Instead of succumbing to doubt, she breathed in courage. Tonight would not define her. It would be a testament to who she was becoming. But just as she started to embrace this newfound confidence, an unexpected knock at the studio door drew her attention. Who could it be? The world felt suspended and a sense of urgency ignited within her. Would this visit disrupt her focus or propel her forward into an even deeper journey of discovery? As she opened the door, anticipation coursed through Claire's veins. Claire opened the door, revealing a woman she recognized only faintly, someone who had been a fixture in the studio during her early years of intense training. The woman's presence sent a ripple of nostalgia through Claire, mixed with the hint of anxiety. "Claire," the woman said, her voice warm but laced with something Claire couldn't quite place. "I didn't expect to find you here. I heard you're teaching now." "Yeah, it's new. I'm excited," Claire replied with a cautious smile. Her gut twisted. She instinctively braced herself for an inquiry into her capabilities. "I always remembered how passionate you were," she said, studying Claire's face as if reading between the lines of her hesitance. "I thought I'd come by and see how you were doing now that you're leading classes." The compliment felt as much like an expectation as a boost. Claire shifted her weight, half expecting criticism. "It's a work in progress," she admitted, searching for a way to turn the conversation away from her insecurities. But this woman, armed with years of experience beyond Claire's own, fixed her gaze on Claire with unexpected intensity. "You've always been gifted. Trust that you'll pass on the music in your soul. It's not always about the perfection of steps. It's about the spirit you infuse into them." Claire was momentarily stunned, But recognition flickered within her. This was the same voice she had once longed to hear from her mentors. Yet apprehension niggled at her. Could she really infuse spirit into her teaching? Would her journey of uncovering her vulnerabilities resonate with her students? Or would they see only a fractured woman struggling to become whole? Feeling the pressure build within her, Claire steadied herself and asked, "What brings you here tonight?" "I'm leading a workshop for children. Some of them have difficulties processing motion and rhythm, autistic kids. Dance is a language, and I believe it can unlock something special for them," the woman explained, enthusiasm palpable in her tone. The mention of autism made Claire's heart race. She recalled her own fears regarding Lily's creative future, worrying that her child might struggle to find her voice. Wow, that's powerful," Claire managed, her curiosity steeping into concern. "How do you connect with them?" "They feel the rhythm in their own way. Sometimes it takes breaking down barriers that most of us don't see. Each child is a treasure trove, waiting for the right approach to help them bloom. It's a dance of patience and discovery," the woman replied. The mention of autism made Claire's heart race. She recalled her own fears regarding Lily's creative future, worrying that her child might struggle to find her voice. Wow, that's powerful," Claire managed. "How do you connect with them?" "They feel the rhythm in their own way. Sometimes it takes breaking down barriers that most of us don't see. Each child is a treasure trove, waiting for the right approach to help them bloom. It's a dance of patience and discovery," the woman replied. Claire's mind sparked with possibilities. She recalled her own fears regarding Lily's creative future, worrying that her child might struggle to find her voice. Wow, that's powerful," Claire managed, her curiosity steeping into concern. "How do you connect with them?" "They feel the rhythm in their own way. Sometimes it takes breaking down barriers that most of us don't see. Each child is a treasure trove, waiting for the right approach to help them bloom. It's a dance of patience and discovery," the woman replied. Claire's mind sparked with possibilities. She thought about Lily and the way she approached the world, ever eager and ever curious. Could this be a landscape for them both to explore? A thought took root that she had not yet considered. What if she could adapt her teachings to not only convey beauty through movement, but also offer a supportive space for diverse experiences? "Would you like to join the workshop?" the woman asked, reading the growing intrigue on Claire's face. "Me?" Claire exclaimed, an unfamiliar rush coursing through her. "I'm not sure I'm ready for that level." "Trust me," the woman insisted gently. "Every time you dance, you uncover something more profound about yourself. We all learn differently, and that's what makes it worthwhile. It's time you let that brilliance reflect through you." Claire hesitated, envisioning the children, their unique struggles, their earnest joy, their unrefined expressions of movement. The idea of stepping outside her conventional role flickered with both allure and terror. She saw a potential pathway emerging, one that could intertwine her aspirations of mentorship with her deepest fears. "Let me think about it," Claire ultimately said, already feeling the weight of decision closer than she had anticipated. With a nod, the woman left, but the seeds of introspection were firmly planted in Claire's mind. Her heart raced with newfound questions. Could she truly offer herself to students who required a deeper understanding of movement and connection? Every ounce of doubt began to unravel in the wake of a compelling invitation. As she returned to the studio, Claire found herself standing alone, grappling with the dual urges to run toward this opportunity and retreat back into familiar territory. Could she transform her fears into a teaching strategy to foster understanding? As she practiced her movements, she felt the echoes of her past colliding with the possibilities of the future. What would her dance mean in this new context? The sound of her breathing mixed with the thumping of her heart, each beat amplifying her sense of urgency. There was more to discover, more to unlock within herself, and this journey felt like only the beginning. Suddenly, a flicker of realization washed over her. She was not merely a dancer, but a messenger, a bridge between potential and reality. In the stillness, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror, not as a mother or a teacher, but merely as a spirit ready to dance anew. Yet, even as exhilaration surged within, one chilling question persisted. Would stepping into this new role expose another layer of her vulnerabilities, or would it reveal an even stronger version of herself? Now, the path before Claire appeared both bright and daunting, and the answer lay just beyond her reach. Claire stood in front of the mirror at the dance studio, the air thick with anticipation and raw energy. The performance night loomed just around the corner, and she felt the culmination of her journey in every nerve ending, every bead of sweat. Each twirl and leap had continually prompted questions that spiraled within her mind. Would she shine on stage? More importantly, would she continue to strengthen the bond with Lily amidst her growing ambitions? Tonight, she would reveal something profound, not just her skills, but her heart. She had decided to interweave her professional aspirations and her role as a mother in the most authentic way possible. Embracing both identities was daunting, yet the exhilaration surged through her veins like a warm melody. The day of the performance had finally arrived, and Claire had transformed not only her dance routine, but everything about herself. The morning sunlight poured through the windows, igniting her spirit. She had spent the last few nights rehearsing her routine, instilling her fears into her movements, improvising the choreography to reflect pivotal lessons of vulnerability with poetry and passion. Lily had been her unwavering supporter, encouraging her mother with every moment leading to this day. "You're going to sparkle, Mom," she had declared as they crafted new dance sequences together, enveloping each other in warmth and comfort. Today would be a visual testament to the growth she had achieved, inside and out. "Remember our conversations, Claire," the instructor had said during practice the previous week. "Dance isn't merely about showing a performance. It's a narrative, a way to connect with the audience. The place between connection and vulnerability is where the magic is." Now those words resonated within her like a lived truth. Claire took one final look at her reflection and stepped into the warm light of the stage. The venue was alive with energy, an audience ready to witness her story unfold. All eyes would be on her. Yet instead of anxiety, she felt a stirring excitement coursing through her. As the music began, she let the notes penetrate deep into her soul. The rhythm wrapped around her, buoying her into the movements that flowed freely from her body. This was more than a performance. It was a representation of every choice, every battle, and every triumph she had encountered in her relationship with Lily. The first act blended the joyful chaos of childhood with the elegance of pure artistry. Claire poured everything, her struggles, her hopes, her fears, into each deliberate gesture. The audience held their breath, and she could feel their engagement. It was a sharing of vulnerability. She was living the dance, embodying it, rather than simply performing it. As the final notes rang out, the applause echoed in waves, vibrant and empowering. Claire stood in the spotlight, heart racing and adrenaline coursing through her, but there was no trickle of self-doubt this time. The recognition felt like an affirming embrace, enhancing her resolve more than any accolade of corporate success ever had. She had discovered a new form of achievement. When the curtain fell, Claire's eyes scanned the audience and landed on Lily, whose expression radiated pride. Her daughter was a reflection of her own growth, an embodiment of the expressive dynamism they had forged together. In that instant, she understood that her journey had illuminated not only her own desires, but also opened pathways for Lily's blossoming independence. The weight that had burdened Claire was finally lifting. She realized the truth lay nestled within the beautiful complexity of their relationship. Their shared dance had formed a bridge, one where both could flourish without fear. As the audience erupted into cheers, Claire stepped down from the stage, a renewed woman, no longer encumbered by the juxtaposition of mother and performer. The alignment in her life was no longer an idea to chase after. It was now an established reality, validated by the applause and affection surrounding her. "Mom, you made me so proud," Lily exclaimed, rushing into her mother's arms. Claire wrapped her tightly, feeling the warmth of her daughter's spirit. This embrace solidified the bond, symbolizing the journey they had undertaken together. In that defining moment, Claire knew her personal and professional aspirations could coexist vibrantly. She existed not only as a mother, but also as a mentor and performer. And just as her confidence soared, the instructor approached her, enthusiasm punctuating her voice. "Claire, your authenticity lit up that stage. I'd love for you to lead a workshop for our kids, the ones who look up to you. Your story can inspire many." The proposition ignited a spark within Claire, now certain she was ready to invest in the narrative that still lay ahead. This was the evolution of her identity and purpose, bridging personal growth into mentorship. Accepting this opportunity would send ripples through her life, intertwining her passions and solidifying the roles she adored. As she looked into Lily's eyes glimmering with pride and inspiration, Claire could not ignore the rap of confidence. Tonight marked not just a performance, but a true turning point. Motherhood, artistry, and mentorship had seamlessly intertwined in the most delightful dance. Together, they had conquered fears, explored joy, and transformed their lives in ways she could only once dream of. Being both Claire the dancer and Claire the mother was no longer a juggling act. It was now the beautiful choreography of her fulfilled self. So, she accepted the instructor's invitation, and stepping into this new challenge felt like an exclamation point on her growth. Claire emerged from the stage not just as a dancer, but with the recognition that she could continue to redefine what success meant. She was on the cusp of transforming others' lives, just as she had transformed her own through the simple dance of connection. Now, as she held Lily close, Claire couldn't help but smile with an elated sense of satisfaction. This was her moment. This was their moment. Together, they would step forward, hearts intertwined, ready to embrace all that life had to offer. And remember, if you felt inspired by Claire's journey, if you see the power in personal transformation, you need to subscribe now to this channel to never miss another exclusive emotional story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know these stories resonate with you. Comment below your thoughts and theories about Claire's journey and how you might relate to her struggles and triumphs. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to support the channel and help spread the message of growth and achievement.